Floyd Mayweather is defending Canelo Alvarez for ducking David Benavidez. He says Canelo has already proved himself, inferring that he's earned the right to pick who he fights and who he doesn't fight. You see, this was Mayweather's philosophy during his welterweight run, but it's a philosophy based on deception. When there's another champion out there who wants to unify with you, or a mandatory challenger who's knocking at your door, instead of accepting the challenge and fighting him right away, you instead find ways to discredit him and use that as an excuse to not fight him. We heard it all from Mayweather. Oh, that guy hasn't earned his shot. He needs to go and beat so-and-so first. He needs to avenge his losses. And again, these were world champions and top contenders we're talking about here. But he'd always find an excuse not to fight certain people at certain times. And down the line, he'd often contradict himself. He fought several guys who had defeats they never avenged, but he'd use that as an excuse not to fight other people when it suited him. He once said he doesn't fight guys coming off losses, but he fought Zab Judah coming off a loss. He also criticized Manny Pacquiao for fighting people at catchweights when he went on to fight Canelo at a catchweight. Mayweather was never undisputed champion. He claimed it was because he was more important than the belts and that he didn't want to pay sanctioning fees. But I think an additional reason is because he didn't want to be forced to fight a bunch of mandatory challengers. He wanted to carefully select opponents that suited his style or opponents that were slightly past it. Not that they weren't good fighters, but styles make fights and timing is everything. He always favored the WBC over all other sanctioning bodies because the WBC give many of their champions carte blanche. They're often very slow to enforce mandatories and very slow to strip certain champions for inactivity. And this suited Mayweather down to the ground. And when that wasn't good enough, he would do these fake retirements, something he probably copied from Sugar Ray Leonard. This was to escape public pressure for him to fight certain people and to increase the amount of money TV companies were willing to pay him to return to the ring. And it also allowed him to sit on the sidelines and observe his rivals. Some of them might move up in weight, some might get damaged and show signs of deterioration, and others might get beat. He'd then come out of this fake retirement at the most opportune moment and pounce. And don't get me wrong, it was very clever stuff. He used boxing. He didn't allow boxing to use him. But again, it's a strategy based on deceiving the public. This is a guy who was running around calling himself the best ever when he wasn't willing to take the risks that Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, and many other greats took. They took on all comers and fought everyone exactly when they were supposed to fight them. But Mayweather wasn't like that at all. He was far more careful about who he fought than they were, yet he had the cheek to claim that he was greater than them. If you're not willing to go to the extremes that those other greats went to, then don't claim you are greater than them. It's disingenuous. But there you go. It was a whole heap of funny business with Floyd Mayweather. So of course, he's going to support certain cash cow fighters when they cherry pick. In fact, he likes Tyson Fury too, probably for the same reason. Birds of a feather and all that. Canelo, to be fair, hasn't been as bad as Mayweather. He did duck Golovkin for a couple years, and he's currently ducking Benavidez. But apart from that, he's taken more risks and challenged himself more than Mayweather did. Don't get me wrong, I'm not excusing the Benavidez duck at all. Definitely not. He's been mandatory for ages. His shot is long overdue, and Canelo's powering him off to fight a guy from 2 weight divisions below. In a fair world, Canelo would have been stripped of that belt by now. He's holding up the division with these antics. If you don't like the pressure and expectation that comes with being champion, then give up the belt and let someone else fight for it. Simple. Anyway, just wanted to sound off on that. Leave your thoughts in the comment section.